I selected 5 main myths about the college process for the arts that I think if we could unearth those, it will answer a lot of the questions that are showing up in the group this week. So here we go. The first biggest myth that I think is really problematic in our culture right now is that the college decision that you're making as a young adult is this permanent decision, like unchangeable choice that you're making, and it's going to decide your fate, right? It's going to control all future options. Other career opportunities are going to be off the table. If you like a plethora of things, you have to choose one thing, and then it becomes this like linear trajectory that's out of your control forever and ever. Amen. And then add to that, okay, you actually don't have the power to choose where you go to college. Right? So, or even if you get to major in the thing you want to major in, because for some of you, you're looking at, degrees like musical theater or vocal performance or whatever, because you're thinking, I need to major in that thing in order to do that for a living. And then if you don't get in anywhere, to an audition-based program, a lot of young adults feel like this means I'm not good enough, and this means I can't. This means I can't do those things. We must stop this madness and assure this generation of college applicants that you are not going to give control of your future and the ability to reach your creative potential and your greatest life's joy. You're not going to give that control and that power away to an institution, to any institution, or to any governing body of audition judges or an admissions panel, okay? The truth of the matter is there are many, many, many paths to the lives that you want and deserve. For some of you, you're going to want that academic and lifestyle choice of going to a college or a university or getting a degree in something. I'm not even getting into what you're choosing to major in college. But let me tell you this. There are so many people in the arts who did not major in the arts and didn't even go to college. I'm certainly not saying that you shouldn't go. Please hear me. I'm a big fan of education for the sake of education. But what I don't want you to do is falsely believe in that very false narrative that you must go into debt and go crazy trying to win the approval of an institution in order to create amazing art and create a career pathway for yourself. There are too many people doing it in a variety of other ways for that to be believed for even 1 minute, okay? So you're going to have, sorry, I'm turning my page here. You are going to have many opportunities to make changes, to make choices. Put the power back with you. And I want you to look at it like this. When you are looking at colleges, I want you to think about what you are hiring them to do for you. Not begging and hoping that someone somewhere likes you enough, sees enough in you to accept you. Flip that script and think about whether or not you would hire them for the money they're asking for, right? Would you hire them to be your partners in helping you reach your goals and you become the most inspired, empowered force that you can become? Will this organization, will this culture light you up and make you want to be the best that you can be? Do you feel brilliant and empowered and like they see you in a way you really want to be seen? Look at them like that, rather than coming in from a place of lack and subservience and just hoping that someone approves of you. Okay, that's number one. And if you get nothing else out of this talk, please let it be this. The second biggest myth is that you need a plan B. So this shows up in a couple of different ways. It shows up in young adults not really pursuing a music career because they don't know how. So they pursue a career in something else entirely, and then music just becomes a hobby at the age of 17 or 18 before they've really been educated on how the music industry works and how people actually can make a living in this field. There are plenty of people making a living in this field that aren't famous, that you don't even know about, right? So it shows up in that way. The myth also shows up in this misconception around what to major in. I'm often asked, should I major in music or should I major in a plan B? Here's the truth. You don't need a plan B. You need a plan, period. Right? So you need a plan that includes making a living and having a sustainable income while you are working your way toward having music or the arts be your full-time moneymaker. That can be a long-term endeavor. Make no mistake about it. There are contemporary artists today who have like gold records on streaming services who aren't really pulling a big-time adult salary off of that streaming service, right? So how are they making a living? They have sustainable income skills like music production, for example. I know a lot of artists that I work with, they have a lot of clout because they're very popular on social media and on Spotify and in the industry. But a lot of their like bread and butter money is coming from producing with, writing with, or even doing like videography, website design. Like they're doing a lot of things for their sustainable income while they're waiting for bigger money to come directly from the music industry, because that can be a long-term thing. So when I'm doing individualized road mapping with students around what to major in, we're often talking about something like this. All right, you're a great singer. You're a great songwriter. The pathway for you to become successful as a recording artist, in my opinion, and again, this is just one example, but I have a person in mind. The pathway includes you becoming really, really proficient in producing your own music, because you're going to write, record, and release. You're going to be on that cycle for a while, unsigned as an independent artist. And you're also going to need to figure out fan funnels and sales and marketing and music business and probably some music law in order to really start to run your life like an entrepreneur, because you are your own first manager. You are your own first label. Gone are the days when you can get plucked out of obscurity because like you went viral once or somebody saw you in a club. You know, you really need to do this for a while and really reach a pretty high level of success before great deals are going to come your way. So we figure out your career trajectory. And from there, you might realize, and this person did, it made no sense to major in contemporary voice. You know, she was a great singer. She had a great vocal coach keeping her voice healthy. She is a very prolific songwriter, and you don't really master those crafts in a classroom for a grade anyway. So she decided to major in music business. This way, she could get internships in the music industry and develop friends and relationships in the music industry, which would help her artistry, but also would help her to run her life like a music business mogul in her own right and have a lot of agency for her artistic career. Similarly, I'm working with a young man in a very similar situation. Oh, and by the way, she's learning music production privately as well. I have hooked her up with some resources, and so she's learning music production at a very high level. She's already, producing her own stuff. She hasn't even graduated from high school yet, and she's producing at a higher level than like a college program would take her. And then I'm working with a young man who is a singer, a songwriter. He's also producing at like I'd say an intermediate level already. And he has, I think, a greater interest. He has a very specific interest in what he wants to do for his sustainable income. He's really into film and videography. He makes incredibly creative, like music videos and lyric videos for his own stuff already. So he's going to major in either like PR, digital marketing. I don't think he's going to major in videography, but it'll be something on that side of the industry, like visual creation in the digital media world. And again, that will provide him with avenues to work as a freelance artist, as well as, maybe even getting gigs, whether it's from temp agencies or part-time work or full-time work, while he's pursuing his music career. And I have plenty of people who decide, you know what? I want a degree. I want to be in a college environment for 4 years, but I can't fathom the idea of taking classes in anything other than music. So I know I don't have to major in songwriting. I know I don't have to major in any of those things to have a career, but I'm gonna, because it lights me up to do it. But I also understand that I'm going to need to have a career roadmap and plan for myself. And I'm going to need to get a lot of music business acumen and music production skills that I'm not going to get inside of this college program. And I'm going to work with Melissa or whomever else to get that. Okay. So I just swooped right in and walked you through myth number 3, which is that you have to major in music, or that you have to major in the thing you want to do for a living in order to be successful. A lot of us in the field, like I majored in English, there's a lot of people in the field who majored in a variety of things, from psychology to religion to anthropology. You have options, all right? Coming up with a plan to launch your music career effectively isn't predicated on what you major in, believe it or not. There are many, many paths to success, is what I'm trying to tell you. 4th big myth, and this question was asked quite a few times, I think, in our Facebook group this week, which is, excuse me as I recover from laryngitis, is what do colleges look for in terms of like advanced music classes, extracurricular activities? Like what should my kid be focusing on if they want to get into a great program? This is going to vary quite a bit. Excuse me. This is going to vary quite a bit. For classical and like jazz musical pursuits, the more music theory and the more advanced stuff you can do there, the better. However, no matter what you're doing, I want you to lean into your strengths and your natural inclinations the most. And you're going to want a school that will value that about you. My friend Steve Cruz, he works with Omega Educational Consulting in New York. We're very dear friends. We do a lot of, events together on this topic. He talks about how, when like Gen X and even, millennials were going to college, colleges were really looking for a well-rounded student, right? So we were all told, like, do a sport, do student council, be in an academic club, play an instrument, do something in the arts, be well-rounded. Do volunteer work, all the things. It's really changed. Colleges are now looking for more of a pointed arrow, So if you are lucky enough to know who you are and what matters to you and what you want to do, showing a real focus and a willingness to go deep into that direction in a creative way is amazing. For example, I work with a lot of contemporary, music makers. I lovingly call them like my group of weirdos and nut jobs, like the people who they love music, but they don't necessarily even love the school choir or the school band. Maybe they're doing School of Rock. Maybe they don't even want to do that because they're just so off the beaten path. Those students are getting accepted into Clive Davis and UCLA. Like they're not participating in school extracurricular activities. You know what they're doing? They're launching their own live, they're blowing up on Twitch and they're um, writing, recording, and releasing their own music. They're putting on benefit concerts for causes that they care about in their community. They're writing, starring in, and composing the music for their own independent films. They're they don't You no longer need an institution to like sanction your extracurricular activities. You can go out there in the world today and be an entrepreneur at 15, 16, 17 years old. Students are designing and selling their own merch, for their bands or for their projects. They're starting blogs and YouTube channels dedicated to social justice. So go deeply in the direction of your dreams now. Don't wait for a school to give you an opportunity or a community to like cast you in something. Go out there and create. And I am happy to talk to any of you who are doing that and how to put that together in a beautiful portfolio that really shows the story of who you are and what it is that you're making. And lastly, the fifth big myth about college for the arts is that there's a list of shoulds. That there is a blueprint out there in the world that you can't find but exists on how to get through this process. Or that there's a list of best programs, like some of the biggest brand name programs in the world, right? I have students at all of them. But here's the thing. I kind of primarily work with professionals and aspiring professionals like in the indie artist world. So I'm working with people who have gone to those institutions, and I'm working with people who didn't go to college, who majored in other things, who went to community college. Like, it is as varied in the professional world of young adults. It is as varied as you could possibly imagine. And so are the stories, right? And the experiences of everybody who goes to these best programs. I have just as many people who kind of regret it and feel like, man, if I could go back and do it all again, I would at least do the experience differently, knowing what I know now, even if I still chose to go. I have plenty of people who are like, I didn't need to be there. Some quit, and then I have plenty of students who are like, thank goodness that is where I chose to go. Right? So the program is all about the fit. It's all about what will make you thrive, what will inspire you, what will not put you in crippling debt. There is no institution that is worth shrinking up your creativity on the inside and also putting you into financial limitations that are very difficult to crawl out of later. There's no network that they provide that's worth that. It's a lot easier than you might think to create an amazing network of people around you, no matter what you choose to do for college. So this is my greatest passion in life, is helping you guys figure this stuff out. I'll provide a link to where you can reach out for follow-up questions, or if you want to request to talk to me or let me know what's going on with you, I'm happy to help. I have a few spots available for some one-on-one consultations this season, so I'll make sure to include that info as well. I miss doing them. I miss getting a chance to connect with you guys more often in person. So enjoy the rest of your day, and I will talk to you soon.